The surface of the water never truly rests. Even when it appears calm, there is always movement beneath, subtle shifts that ripple outward and disappear before they can fully be noticed. Building on such a surface is not about forcing stability, but about understanding how to exist within motion. At the beginning, there is no structure, no boundary, nothing to define space. Just an open stretch of water reflecting the sky above. The decision to build here is not simply about creating shelter. It is about transforming something that cannot be held into something that can support weight, form, and purpose. The process begins long before any construction takes place. It starts with observation, the direction of the wind, the rhythm of the water, the way small waves interact with the shoreline. These patterns are not random. They form a system, and understanding that system becomes the foundation of everything that follows. Material selection is not just about availability. It is about behavior. Bamboo is chosen not only because it is strong, but because it bends. It absorbs force instead of resisting it completely. This characteristic becomes essential when the structure must respond to constant movement rather than remain fixed. Transporting the material is part of the process, not separate from it. Each piece is carried, repositioned, and prepared with intention. There is no shortcut, no mechanical assistance, only repetition and rhythm. With each movement, the builder becomes more connected to the material itself. When the first layer of bamboo is placed on the water, it does not immediately become a platform. It is simply a collection of elements floating together. It is only through connection that structure begins to emerge. Each binding point becomes a decision, each knot a commitment. Layering transforms fragility into strength. One layer alone cannot hold the weight. 2 layers improve stability. 3 layers begin to create a sense of reliability. The structure evolves gradually, not through sudden change, but through accumulation. The moment the platform is pushed onto the water is a transition. What was once static becomes dynamic. The structure is no longer supported by the ground, but by buoyancy. It begins to respond, to shift, to interact with forces that cannot be controlled. Stepping onto the platform introduces a new phase. Balance is no longer theoretical. It becomes physical. Every movement must be measured. Every shift in weight produces a response. Stability is not given. It is maintained. Anchoring the platform does not eliminate movement. It defines its limits. The structure remains connected to a fixed point, but retains the ability to adjust. This controlled flexibility is what allows the construction to continue without collapse. Vertical construction introduces complexity. Each column adds weight, but also introduces leverage. The higher the structure rises, the more sensitive it becomes to imbalance. Precision becomes more important with every level. Connections are not rigid. They rely on tension rather than compression. Rope bindings create joints that can move slightly without breaking. This allows the structure to adapt to external forces instead of resisting them completely. As additional levels are built, the structure begins to define space. It is no longer just a platform, but a form. The relationship between height and base becomes more apparent. Every new element must be integrated carefully to maintain equilibrium. The act of lifting materials becomes more demanding. Distance increases. Control becomes more critical. Each piece must be placed accurately, not only to fit, but to contribute to the overall balance. Time moves differently during this phase. There is no rush. Each action follows the previous one with consistency. The absence of noise creates a different kind of awareness. Small details become more noticeable. Minor adjustments become more significant. Flooring introduces usability. The structure transitions from something that can be built upon to something that can be occupied. The placement of each bamboo strip affects how weight is distributed. Uniformity becomes essential. The surface is not perfectly rigid, but it is stable enough. Movement is absorbed, not amplified. This creates a space where balance is maintained through design rather than force. Walls are introduced not to isolate, but to define. They create boundaries without blocking connection. Light passes through. Air continues to flow. The structure remains part of its environment rather than separate from it. Reflections from the water add another dimension. Light is no longer static. It moves, shifts, and interacts with the interior space. The environment becomes part of the structure's identity. The roof completes the system. It is not simply a covering, but a protective layer that must account for wind, weight, and exposure. Its design balances durability with lightness, ensuring that it does not destabilize the structure below. When the final element is placed, there is no immediate transformation. The structure does not suddenly become something new. It simply reaches a state where every part functions together. Standing before it, the change becomes clear. What was once an open surface has been shaped into a defined space. Not by force, but by understanding. Not by speed, but by consistency. The floating bamboo house is not just a construction. It is a response to its environment. A system that exists within movement, rather than against it. Every detail, every connection, every decision contributes to its ability to remain stable in a place where nothing else is fixed. And in that balance, the structure
Almost
finds
there.
its strength.
It's finally finished. I finally finished it. My new home.